Hi. Sure. One day I saw a scene in a movie, series or documentary of an Inuit with heavy fur and heavy clothes, standing in front of a hut built entirely out of snow. Among the questions that revolve in most people when they see this scene: how can anyone live in a house of snow? The weather in the polar regions is extremely cold and the snow is also cold. So how, under these circumstances, can we build a house out of snow and get warmer? The topic in the first appears not entirely logical. But let me tell you that the subject is logical and very normal, and the houses are not cartoons nor is there any need. Snow houses or igloos are really existing homes. And the Eskimo inhabitants of the polar regions are building them until today. Welcome. And before we start, if it's still in the channel, don't forget to run subscribe and activate the bell, so our videos reach you first. Powell. The Arctic is one of the most extreme environments on Earth, starting from the coasts of North America to the end of northeastern Siberia. But in spite of that and despite the extreme cold in the place and the harsh climatic conditions, a struggling people can live and endure in this place for thousands of years. And this people are the Inuit people. The Eskimos who inhabit the Arctic regions are in perfect harmony with this lifestyle. They cannot leave the place in which they live at all. This is despite the absence of cities, facilities, or even landmarks of urbanization and urbanization. All that is in front of the Inuit people is snow and a very harsh lifestyle. At the outset, let's say a marginal need like that, the Inuit people don't like this word. I mean, if someone crosses them like this, they will get upset with him and get very upset. The word Eskimo is derived from the term used to refer to strange people who speak a different language. In addition, it also applies to people who eat raw meat. They prefer that people call them Inuit instead of Inuit, because Inuit in their language means people. Vaskimo this, keep it between us and each other to infer them, nothing more. The Inuit or Inuit people live in areas where the temperature reaches 50 degrees below zero in the winter. Anyone who lives in a cold climate like this must go to a shelter and a safe house in which he lives, whether this house is built of bricks, metal, or even wood. Unfortunately, the Arctic does not have any of these needs at all. Even the trees and forests in the place are almost non-existent. And because of that, the inhabitants of this place have learned to build homes with their own, according to the only need available to them, which is snow. Inuit people for thousands of years have resorted to constructing ice huts that resemble a dome. These houses are known as igloos, and the question here remains: how do these ice houses warm them up? The fact is, physically, snow can warm you very normally and keep your body temperature very well. In order to understand the strange equation, we will tell you a story about an animal called a marine otter or a cotter. Sluggard is an animal that grieves fish and marine creatures. And because he had to live in cold water. But at the same time, there is no thick skin on his body and no thick fatty tissue to protect him from the cold. What should he do to keep warm? It used to be a very strange thing. They are air particles. The otter's fur is dense and has a very soft touch. He walked in the heating, and he went back to installing his fur fabric from the inside. The otter's fur is tapered so precisely that it can trap air particles in its atmosphere. Meanwhile, air is an excellent thermal insulator. Because of that, the heat in the otter's body will not scrape off easily. This is because the air that is trapped in his fur from outside prevents this heat from escaping from his body. Because of the subject matter, it is exposed to very normal low temperatures. There is no excuse for it. Glory to God. I do not understand now. What is the otter income in this matter? Easily what we want to talk about. The air is a good insulator. If we find some kind of snow that has an adequate percentage of air inside, that would be a good thing for the construction process. Husky. This is their game, and they have very much experience with its kind and qualities. I mean, for example, if I asked you and told you, do you know how many types of snow? What kinds of snow are there? I'll tell you yes. There are types. The Inuit have in their language a huge number of different words and terms for snow. They can describe it in dozens of different terms that have been eloquently phrased to describe its species and its current state. This is simply because it is more needed around them and most of them understand it. And in a type of snow it is called solid snow. This ice will be approximately 10% frozen water and 90% air. And it will be in the form of layers on the surface of the earth in gregarious areas. This kind of clay is very suitable for construction. First, because he is solid and can bear. Secondly, because it contains a large percentage of air. Since the air is an excellent insulator, like what we have said for a while, this type of snow is suitable for insulating the building from the inside. Because of this, an igloo keeps the temperature in the air and does not allow it to seep out through the walls, just like a thermos. This is already required in the heating process. The heat our body emits, or the heat around us at home, does not leak outside. It is worth noting that the bottom of a igloo is not a flat surface, but the space inside is engraved and formed on several levels. The house is very low. After that, it remains at a higher second level more. It is used to light a fire or perform tasks such as cooking and other things. And finally, the last level, and this will be the upper place in which they slept. In fact, this gradual system does not happen out of thin air or need. But it is intended and has an important role. Hot air by its nature rises to the top because it is light. The naturally cold air descends and settles at the bottom. And because of that, any heat present in the place, whether it results from the fire that is being lit inside or even the heat that radiates from human bodies, all are indestructible, looking up and hovering around the people in the Alawite region. And at the same time, heat insulating walls. Hence, all these necessities combine to give rise to a warm atmosphere in the hut. The temperature inside it reaches 10 degrees or even 15 degrees Celsius. If I feel that the temperature is still very cold, let me tell you that the weather is cold now, the temperature is 50 degrees below zero. It means we are on the mind. An experienced individual of his name can build a small hut by himself in only about 3 hours. As for large huts that accommodate many people, such as an entire family, for example, building their own hut may take 2 days or more. The strange thing is that with the tidal progress that has occurred in building methods with modern architecture systems, no person has discovered a better way to build than the one actually used by the Inuit. The spiral method and the dome-shaped external structure is a very stable structure and there are no edges or wasted areas. And whoever has experience in the engineering field will know that a building in this shape distributes all the loads and vertical forces falling on it and converts them into a horizontal force that discharges into the ground, in order for the building to be stable and resistant to strong winds and storms. This is our answer today to the question, how does a snow hut stay warm inside it, and it was originally made of snow. If you like the video, you will not forget like and share. And the people who first saw us create a subscript and set the bell so that our videos reach you first, Powell.